Welcome to the Cherry Picker, the horror movie podcast where we like to kill people, but not really. I'm your host, Zach Cherry. Joining me today is
Tim McKay.
that's it.
That's it.
That's
Yeah,
it. Just Tim
that's it
McKay.
today.
And I
That's my
guess
name.
joining me like every Monday or Tuesday, depending on when you're listening to this, is Tim McKay. And today we're talking about Misery, which was released November 30th, 1990. This is the Patreon's choice episode for January. It was nominated by Shan Hussein and received the majority of the votes. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Shan. Thank you, Misery. Thank you, Tim. Thanks everyone for being here. How
Well,
fitting that we're covering Misery because wasn't there just like a huge dump of snow all across like the like southern and eastern states?
yeah, I feel like this movie was chosen and it's kind of like ironic for a few reasons. The snow and also being a Rob Reiner film.
Yeah, I mean,
Two very
maybe that
prevalent.
maybe that's the reason that Shan nominated it. I mean, also because it's a wonderful movie, as you know, we'll get into
Mm,
it here. But yeah,
yes,
Rob Reiner sadly was killed. Was it December?
I think
No.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I
but
mean,
I forgot that this was his film and I he produced it and directed it and I loved it.
yeah. I mean, the thing with Rob Reiner is like he has a very eclectic career or had. Um, and yeah, December 14th, 2025, and we don't need to get into like the details of all that because
Mm,
it's not a very pleasant story. But yeah, he
yeah.
had it's just because I think like did he do anything other than Misery in terms of horror? Because
Good
like like
question.
he's got When
I
Harry
don't think
Met
it was his
Sally.
thing. I don't think it was his thing. His like
Ye-
yeah.
Yeah, just
Um
like it just like he kind of ran the gamut, like just like
yeah.
romantic comedies and things like that. And I was actually like talking about this with Eric before we started, and it's just like the thing is it's like Rob Reiner's like the movies that he has directed are kind of like these staples, like they're the most well known, or just it's almost like the seminal version of whatever that is that you are like that specific genre or subgenre. So in terms of like romantic
Mm,
comedies, like When Harry Met Sally is like the one that people think about, or thrillers like in like this era of time, like Misery would be one of them. And I mean, this is also based on Stephen King's novel. And I think, like, in terms of Stephen King movies, this, like, my top three are The Shining, Carrie, and Misery. So, yeah, I was very happy
uh
to talk about this one because I think this is a perfect movie, actually.
Perfection?
Perfection,
Uh,
yes. I would give
I
this 5 out of 5 if we're letterboxing it.
I would say I would give this a 4.5. Um but I do think that it's interesting that Rob Reiner, I was watching a behind the scenes little documentary and he was saying that
Yeah.
it was the scene he's most proud of is the suspenseful scene where um Paul is like out in the house like looking for like trying to find his way out of the house because of the suspense, like the tension, the music building and all that stuff, and that's so out of Rob's like field wheelhouse, like that's
Yeah.
so out of his like what he's used to. So he said that was the most fun for him to direct because it was something different for him and he got to
Yeah.
have a thrilling scene.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
I
love that.
find that like actors and filmmakers who do a lot of comedy actually like would really understand um the idea of suspense and just like the functionality of it because it's like, telling a joke, it's all about timing.
Mm-hmm.
So the two kind of go hand in hand. So like it makes sense why, he would be so deft at like being able to like craft a suspenseful scene like that. I'm curious though, and I would ask this to anyone, but like when
Mm.
someone gives something 4.5, I just like I want to be like, well, what could it do to like earn that extra half a star, you know?
Yeah. And actually, now that I say 4.5, it's kind of silly because then you might as well just make it out of 10. Like if there's point fives, you might as well just make it
Yeah.
out of 10 because then there's 10
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
But
So gives it
I
like
would
a 9 out
say,
of 10.
yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. I just feel, I don't know. It might just be me. I get a little slowed down somewhere in like the middle, like two-thirds of the movie. I feel a
Yeah.
little bit of a slowdown, and that for me, like today, I think I paused it and I like cleaned the dishes and I did a few other things. If I had been hooked the whole way through, I think I would have
Mhm.
given it a perfect score.
I mean, it's possible that maybe we do hit a lot of the same beats a few times
Hmm.
in terms of like, whenever she comes in. But I feel that like everything is still moving along very smoothly.
Yeah.
The thing that I find so fascinating about this is that like this is a movie that is like primarily set in one location for the
Hmm.
entire movie, other than, when we go back to Buster or you remembered her name 2 seconds ago before we
Oh,
started.
Virginia.
Virginia, um, or when we're like with Lauren Bacall's character, or like other instances, but like we're primarily in this one room in the house for most of the
Yeah.
scenes, and it's just fascinating that any movie can work with something like that, which I mean, that's why like this would probably like it does make such a good stage play because it is a single setting location like that. But for a movie to be able to do that and make it feel like there's just momentum all the time, like it's just like the energy feels different every time we go into the room, like what is happening. It's just like it's a very versatile um set for what it's doing and
Hmm.
like just like that kind of like the claustrophobia of it all. So I think like that's why like I like it so much because like normally something like this would lull me to sleep and it doesn't. So I mean for a multitude of reasons, but especially that.
I do have a love for a contained story. I really do. Like that's why I think some of my favorite stories are like locked room mysteries. I love a
Mhm.
small setting, a small location, limited space. I mean, even if it's like a big mansion, like it's still like a limited location. But yeah, like this movie, I believe it was a built set too. I think that they like
Oh,
built the bedroom. I think so because I think I remember like seeing like some one behind the scenes shot of like when the ceiling is like really high up and you can kind of see it like ends and it just yeah, I think I
yeah.
saw that. So but I loved it,
Yeah.
and um I like that Stephen King writes like really good character driven smaller stories that
Hmm.
are all about the characters, and that's why we fall in love with characters like Virginia and her husband Buster, because they're just like
Yeah.
so cleverly written. Even though actually no, Virginia wasn't even in the book apparently, but Buster was, and Rob Reiner made Virginia's character.
Well, it was a wise
She's
choice because
adorable,
yeah,
very
she
wise.
she might be one of my favorite parts of the movie. Other
Is she
than
the same actress from The Mist?
yes. So in terms of horror, Frances Hagen, forgive me, R.I.P. by the way. She was in The Mist, and she was also in one of my favorites that has been talked about on the Cherry Picker previously, Raising Cain, which came out 2 years after this, and that's Brian
Mm.
De Palma, John Lithgow.
Is it a horror?
It is a thriller. I mean,
Okay.
it's horror.
Thriller.
It's in the adjacent family. I have it on my shelf. I mean, most of my movies there are horror, but
Mm.
yeah, Raising Cain, love it. And she has a nice like small role. Like it's not like a cameo by any means. Like she comes in much later in the film, but she pretty much steals every scene that she's in.
It's a
And
cute
that's
character actress that comes in and
She
steals it.
she was, yeah. And I've only seen The Mist once, but I do distinctly remember her because she was one of the few that
Mm-hmm.
like stood out. I'm like, oh, I like her.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, well, I guess I don't have like a printed out premise for this movie or anything, but I think the gist of this movie, if I was to explain it, is if you'd like me to do that,
Yeah,
is
well, okay, yeah,
yes.
go ahead. We'll do that first.
Because yes, housekeeping and everything.
Yeah, no,
Well,
you built up
yeah.
the anticipation. Let's
Yes,
hear
so
the
yes, you're
premise.
right. So Misery is pretty much about an author, very much like Stephen King, and this author decides they want to stop writing about the same character that they always write about, very much like Agatha Christie, with her Poirot series. Anyways, so he's driving along the road in the snowstorm, drives off the road, flips his car, and he's luckily found by his greatest fan, Annie Wilkes. So, is it Quinky Dink or is it more than that? I think we'll find
Mhm.
out quite soon in the story. But yeah, obsession and isolation, um, all those good stuff, all those good
And just
things.
the cold,
Yeah,
just cold
cold
weather.
snowstorm.
Yeah,
Yes,
which
locked room.
we don't
Love
like.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Alrighty. Well, if you are new to the Cherry Picker, if you've been listening slash watching for a while, there's a way that you can give back and help this machine run even smoother or continue running for that matter. And that is if you join my Patreon at patreon.com/ZackCherry, ZackCherry. And as a Patreon supporter, you get a lot of fun and interesting perks. Namely, you can join us every Monday night as we record these live streams and join us in the chat here. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see that we've got a nice turnout tonight, and everyone is excited to talk about misery and hopefully push back on our opinions or say, something controversial. So if
Hopefully.
you're if you ever listen to the podcast and we say something that you're like, that's not fucking true or whatever, you can be here and you can call us out on it in real time, which is really fun. But you also have the opportunity to nominate and vote for the episode that we cover at the end of every month. Obviously, that is what we're doing here with Misery. But come February, you'll get the opportunity to do that again. And yeah, that's just a nice way. If there's a movie specifically that you think that we would enjoy or hate, and want to hear our opinions about it or just want some exposure to it, you can join at the Freddy Krueger tier and get in on that. But lots of other fun things like monthly reviews from me, personal video phone calls. So just, keep that in mind. If you've been enjoying the podcast, head over there and show a little support. And we really appreciate it. But I do want to shout out some of the top tier supporters. So thank you very much to the Michael Myers tier, which is right here. Thank you, Kyle Beard, Sam Levy, Brady, Ellie Hamouche, Shane Allingham, Tim McKay. Hey, Horror Slut
Hey.
95, Austin Hall, Billy's mother, Cara Day, Michael Boswell, DEFCON, Michelle Hughes, and then we've got the Ghostface cheer. So thank you very much to Eric Champney, Daniel Saturn, Stephanie Starbright, Baby Ghoul, Garrison Nichols, Craig Lynn, and Josh Burrow. And do you know where people can watch Misery?
On HBO Max, but only until the end of January. They're taking it off HBO Max.
Why?
Here in
Why?
the US, I have no idea. It said leaving soon, January 31st. Misery will no longer be available
That
on
is
HBO Max.
messed up.
So
Um,
I think just Amazon Prime and Apple TV
yeah.
after that.
Well, I mean, if you're a collector of physical media, like I know I have the Scream Factory DVD or sorry, Blu-ray. Who buys DVDs anymore? I'm sure there's some, but I haven't bought a
Mm,
DVD in like 5 years. I know that there's a 4K. I think it might be Kino Lorber. That's a weird name to say, Kino Lorber. But yeah, definitely one to look out for, definitely one to own. And uh yeah, let's just get into Misery here,
Woo!
proper. But I one thing that I really appreciate about this is that it's so kind of like it's a movie that's just very relevant to, you know, really any time. Like it's kind of timeless in a way that Annie Wilkes is kind of like the ultimate toxic fan.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, like we see like especially like in like the newer Scream movies of just like the idea of like a toxic fandom and all this. Like this bitch is pretty much like this is just like the extremities to which someone will go to get, I guess, like the IP, as it were, to be exactly the way that they need it or how they want it. And I don't know, I just think that there's something really interesting about that because I feel like there is a little bit of Annie Wilkes in all of us.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think that's something that you can't even really figure out right away. Like at first we're like, is it a coincidence that she found him? Then we find out really early on that it's not a coincidence, that she literally went out of her way to stalk him at his hotel room while he was writing his story, and
Hmm.
then was following him home that night, of the storm, or the day of the storm. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think way more than a toxic fan. She's like a downright stalker at that point.
Hmm.
Knows his location at all times. And then yeah, and then the story evolves and she wants to change the story. She wants to make it what she wants it to be. So it becomes this whole other thing.
Hmm. Do you think that she had, and I don't know if this is like in the book, because it didn't really seem like it in the movie, but you know, if she had a hand in tampering with his car and making him crash?
I don't know that. That's actually a really good question because she could have, if she was waiting in the parking lot,
Hmm.
she definitely could have done that. I didn't know that, but my question was more, do you think that like his legs really broke that badly in the crash, or do you think that she damaged them, like she broke them while he was unconscious?
Hmm. That's an interesting idea as well. Like
Yeah.
anything is possible with her because she was just gaslighting him like crazy. Also, thank you, Amethyst. She rigged the blizzard to crash his car. She's just like committing acts of God now.
She is Mother
Uh,
Nature.
Also, Jackie is letting us know that it's also on Peacock, or it was. I'm not
Oh.
sure if it still is, but
Hmm.
um, yeah, I think that that would have been a really interesting discovery if we had known, like maybe his injuries weren't that bad. And we
Hmm.
know obviously by, you know, like the end of the second act, when she like does take the sledgehammer to them, that,
Hmm.
you know, she's not above doing something like that. So she very well might have, you know, earlier on just to make it. Because I mean, I don't know a whole lot about car crashes and just sort of like what happens. Like you know, when he was found by her, he was sort of like laying there and, you know, had his little what would you call it, like a satchel or whatever, wherever he like tote bag on
Hmm.
his chest that he was holding it. But he wasn't like strapped in. I don't remember. Did he like take the seatbelt off afterwards? Um,
I don't know. He was upside down, right? When she found him?
I don't think no, it's
Because
like
the
because she
car
just like
flipped?
she slid the car had flipped, but he wasn't like upside down,
And
like strapped in. And I don't remember seeing a seatbelt. So I mean, I don't know how badly someone's legs could damage. Like unless like you're in an
yeah.
impact where another car is like hitting you, that then like all that metal is like kind of like crunching in like on your legs. I don't know how badly
Hmm.
that could, you know, damage like your vitals and all that stuff. So I don't know. I like that. I like that theory that she possibly could have tampered because I mean she was lying about everything else. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And like she wanted right off the bat for him not to leave. I think she wanted right off the bat for him to stay with her for an extended period of time.
Hmm.
So what better way to do that than literally break his legs? And I won't say what movie it was because I don't want to spoil it, but there is another movie that came out maybe in the past like 6 years or so, where a guy gets in an accident of some kind and he
Hmm.
wakes up at someone's house and his like leg is broken, very similar situation, but he finds out later in the movie, I think he takes off the wrappings and there's actually a nail like pushed up into his foot. So like
Ooh,
so you find out that the person that's helping him actually made it much worse. Like
yeah.
so I don't know if that was inspired by this movie.
Hmm.
But yeah, I could so see that being something.
Yeah. It's just by the very nature that like whatever the snowstorm is, it was like clearly just like an overnight. Maybe like because when he wakes up, she's like, "You've been here for 2 days now,"
Mm-hmm.
but you can see like out the window and everything looks to be fine. And like obviously like they were clearing the roads, and I guess from his vantage point, he can't really see. But if like he's telling or she's telling him like, "Don't, you have to be careful," et cetera and so forth. But
Mm-hmm. I
I don't
like when
know,
he
like.
oh what?
Well, when he sees them for the first time, it's just like it's almost like a psychological or maybe even like a placebo kind of effect where or even like you cut yourself and you don't realize that you've cut yourself, but then you see the blood and you're like, ooh,
Mm.
or like something like that because it's like once she took the blanket off and showed him his legs, he kind of like cringed and winced a little. So it
Well,
might
they're
have like
horrific. I was gonna
yeah.
say I like the prosthetic work that they did
Hmm.
for his legs. They made them look huge. They were swollen. They were like they
Oh, they're
must have been
disgusting.
fully broken, all the way from his like thigh all the way down to the foot, because the
Hmm.
whole thing was swollen up on both legs.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, but I like when he wakes up too, that like it's like a bright sunny day, the birds are chirping, everything seems like so happy and like colorful and bright,
Hmm.
and Annie seems like an angel. She's like the sweetest thing ever when he wakes up. So it's just such a funny contrast from where he begins with her, than obviously where he ends.
Hmm. Yeah. And what do you think is the first moment where he like realizes that he's fucked? Like when she like spills the soup or when she's like,
So I actually have, thanks to that question, because I actually wrote down that there are three cracks that she shows before she has her big meltdown when she
yeah.
breaks into his room at night and she like loses her mind and like starts yelling. But the first crack that I found is yeah, when she's feeding him the soup and it's the foul language that she's unhappy with and she starts like losing her mind over the foul language.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first crack.
Yeah. No, that's like, I mean, like right then and there, it's just sort of like, what is your issue? Um, but just like all of the thing that was like, if there was a crack for me, it's when she was talking about like she went to town, et cetera, and so forth. So it's like, obviously she could have like communicated with people and she, you know, told him as much, like she lied about
Mm-hmm.
having done that, but it's like, well, why, he's asking all these questions like why aren't they coming to get me? The roads are bad or whatever it is, and it's just like, but you were able to drive out there. So,
Mm-hmm. And
I don't know.
she says, oh, sorry.
Well, I was like, at what point? I think that like when she starts like freaking out about the foul language, that's when he like realized that like, okay, I need to be like really careful about how I interact with this woman because she's clearly out of her mind.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it could have, if he was maybe a little bit more forceful, he could have in the days before that just been like very insistent and been like, like get me out of here, like you need to like et cetera and so forth. I don't know if it would have done anything, but I think that
Yeah.
like she had created enough of a, like you said, just like this really inviting atmosphere that he wasn't really trying to push back on it at first.
Yeah, because at first she gave off a really nice like savior vibe. Like he really was like, thank God this woman found me in the snow. Like what were the
Mhm.
chances? But then yeah, she tells him like, well, actually I was following you. And yeah, and but even with that, when she says that to him, it's still done in a really kind of cute way, like almost like in a way, like a little weird, but like you just come off like that's when she still came off like a really devoted fan, like just someone that like knew that her favorite author was in the same town and like wanted to check on him, followed him to make sure that he was okay in the storm. Like it's almost like, oh, okay, that's creepy, but it's nice.
Mhm.
Um, but then yeah, it's once the soup, no, not the soup, yeah, the foul language. And then I said second crack is the same thing you just said. Her second crack was when she goes to town and she's like, oh, I called your agent and I spoke with your agent, and I believe he says, "Oh, that's weird. It's her daughter's birthday today, so like she's with her daughter, so how did you like you
Hmm.
couldn't have spoken with her. And so I was like, oh, so that's an obvious lie. And things start to really unravel. And then the third crack is when like she has an obvious like mood dip and she starts talking about like um how much misery means to her and how she started using his books to cope with whatever was going on in her life.
Yeah.
And she says it in such a way that's like the stoic and it's kind of like, oh God, this and that's the third
Hmm.
crack. And then that night she
Yeah.
comes in like psychotic.
Yeah. And yeah, then there's the pig named Misery as well. Um,
Yeah. Like
I
he
I love that it's just like the character in this book's name is Misery. Because it's just such a weird like juxtaposition for like I guess these are like romance novels.
mm-hmm.
They're just like yes, with the character's name Misery. But I love that it's sort of like the Misery series is like his cross to bear. It's just like it's the thing that like he does, which I think like probably like most artists can relate to. It's just like the thing that you're the most well known for and have probably
Mm-hmm.
like made the most success out of in your career. And it's just almost like you know, like musicians who go to venues and they want to like do their new music, but everyone's just like, no, do this one song that you're known for from like here or
Yeah.
there. And like that's like misery for him. And he's just like he resents it so much and she's just so obsessed with it. And it's like, God, like you like this crap that I made. Like it's not like crap in his mind, but it's just like it's obviously not like the best work that he could do. It's just like he
Yeah.
considers it to be beneath him. So like in that way, he sort of like almost like has this like preconceived opinion of her, um, based on that. Because
Yeah.
like I don't think that he's like 100% like a great person as either. But it's comparatively he is but in this situation it's sort of like there's kind of like this uh like he looks down on her in a way and I think that she can sense that and that like kind of informs their relationship at first which kind of like makes it easier for her to be as abusive as she is and that's why he like becomes so scared of her in a way that it's like, you know, he doesn't challenge her or kind of push back in many ways, and then like has to get to this point where he's very strategic about how he's going to like go about things and like, you know, basically telling her what she needs to hear or just kind of like, you know, assuaging her
Yeah.
fears about like whatever the situation is.
That the way you just described it almost reminded me of Haunting of Hill House. Did you see that series?
No, but I, you know, it's just like the whole like
Okay.
turning of the screw story, right?
Yeah, well, there's a main character in it who writes like a book series called The Haunting of Hill House. It's like based on what happened to his family in the big house when he was a child. And it's what's sad and what you learn about him is that like he has all these fans, everyone loves him, but he doesn't believe any of the work in his books. Like he actually like doesn't really think that the house was haunted. He thinks that his dad was just crazy and um so yeah, it's kind of like that feeling, kind of just how you describe Paul feeling about these misery books. Like he has such a big fandom that love him for these books, but he himself doesn't really believe in it and doesn't really
Hmm.
have his heart in it 100%.
Yeah.
Um, so that is true, and I think it's once Annie comes in at night when she's like had her three cracks and um she breaks into his room and she's furious and she read that Misery dies. I think that that's when the mask comes off completely for him and he knows now like oh she wants to hurt me like she could very well hurt me and now I have to be on
Hmm.
my best behavior and make this woman think that I like her because that's the
Yeah.
only way I'll survive.
Yeah. Craig is bringing up a really good point that, you know, she was killing babies as a nurse,
Mm-hmm.
which I always like, you know, whenever that comes up, like it almost feels like it's a little too much. And I was that something that was in the book? Does anyone know? Because it was almost like if you needed more of a reason to like feel like that this character is like evil. It's like here we go. There's this whole history, but she like says that she left it out for him to find, for him to understand who she is. And I feel that like maybe it wasn't like absolutely needed to have this like extra thing that she's just like this baby killer as well, because like just her being like just like devoting the character completely to the fact that like no, she's just like nutso and completely obsessed with this guy probably would have been enough. Like you know what I mean? Like the finding out about the killing of the
Yeah.
babies doesn't really reframe the story in any sort of significant way. It's just sort of like another thing that, she can like add to her list of crazy.
Almost like how can we make her really, really bad? Like
Yeah.
she kills babies, she skins puppies, and she litters every time she has lunch.
We just need her
Um
to like walk in with like a big Cruella de Vil fur coat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because in that book, there's lots. I think it was Amethyst maybe that made a joke about it being a big book of exposition, just like laying about.
Yeah.
I think that's so funny because it says that at first she killed a fellow student, and then she became a high honor student right after that. So I think she killed a fellow student because it said, yeah, a high honor student dies, and then she became high honors. So I think that was her
Hmm.
first kill, and then she. Uh, Started working in the intensive care unit, and then like elderly people started dying underneath her, and then she killed the pediatrician because it says pediatrician dies, and she became the head of maternity ward, and
Yeah.
then she started killing babies. So it's like she just started killing everywhere she went, and I wonder if these were all murders of like she thinks she's doing the right thing, like she thinks that she is the best person for the job, so she killed those people to get what she wanted, and then she felt like she couldn't help them, so she started killing them. Like, all these babies are a little sick, so I'm gonna put them out of their misery. Or these old people are sick, so I'm gonna put them out of their misery. Like, I wonder if she was that
Oh,
kind of crazy.
nice title drop callback there.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't mean that.
So many meanings. I could see that. I definitely um I thought that maybe it was more so just sort of like the thing that, gets Buster to go out there and investigate it because it's sort of like that plays into it later on where he's sitting in his office and she's like drives up and she's like honking her horn and cursing in her
Mm.
like her clean curse word way to the other guy and he's like I'm gonna look into this woman and then finds like all that history of her and then that leads to the discovery that oh she's been in the store buying typewriters and paper and all
Paper.
that, which then like, sends him out there. So if, and she says like when Buster comes over that like she was, and this is just a cover, but it's just like, she wanted to carry on Paul's work and just sort of like write the next novel or just like, really like, key into like who like the misery character is and like and carry that on. So everything that you're saying about her, like thinking that she was like the best person for the job, maybe that rings true. I mean, like there's obviously like the layer of obsession that she had for Paul was like the main thing. But after that, would she kind of like step up and be like, I'm gonna carry this on? Because we do see that in like kind of like the way when she's describing the story about going to the theater to see those like the short
Hmm.
episodic things and just like essentially doing what I always do of just like pointing out the the logistical errors and like everything and her just like getting up on her soapbox there and just being like you didn't get out of the cock-a-doodle car and
Hmm.
it's almost like for her to like come in there and start like critiquing his work and being like you need to start over because this doesn't make any sense and yada 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 like when you think about it like the story that he burns like the ninth misery book or however many there are that is the story that is her story it has nothing to do with him he's just sort of like the I guess like the tool that she's using to write this through like or like some sort of
Oh yeah.
conduit so she had the idea he's just sort of like the writer hands and brain to put it all together so I think that there is a part of her like now that you mentioned this that like does actually want to you know be able to write that character and continue on the story.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what I found interesting was that. So I guess in Misery's Child, that like so out of
Mhm.
all the Misery books, Misery's Child is the one that is coming out around the same time that he gets in the accident. That's like it's
Yes.
just being published on shelves, and in that book. at the end, Misery dies, and so his untitled work that was something completely different, something that has nothing to do with Misery, and
Hmm.
that's what she makes him burn, right? Because she's like, you're not
Yeah.
going to work on this. You're actually going to write Misery's resurrection. Um,
Hmm.
so so yeah, and like that's so funny. And I wonder if the book that he ends up writing at the end had anything to do with that book that he had to burn. But that's neither here
It
nor there.
seems like
But
maybe that was like it was like, he had to go back and write from memory or just sort of like come like with
mm-hmm.
that with whatever that premise was and like rework that again. Because we know that like I feel like the natural thing to do would be to write about the experience, but like the agent even
Yeah.
says like
Yeah, you
are
should
you
do
going
that.
to you should do it. And he's like, I don't, you
Hmm.
want me to relive like the worst horror of my life? But I always find like if and I'll like relate this to sort of like maybe like editing a video or something because I've had this happen in the past and it really sucks when it does where I'll like create this thing and then something will happen to the file like I don't know if it like gets corrupted or something gets deleted or whatever and then suddenly the whole thing is lost and then you have to
Mm.
go start over from scratch again and in those scenarios I find like whatever you can produce out of those ashes usually ends up being better because it's like you're kind of like able to have some distance from it and separate yourself and see like, oh, these things weren't working and here's actually a better way of doing this or explaining this or writing this. So I feel that, in a way she probably did him a huge favor and he kind of says this too, like she was, kind of the best thing that happened to him
Mm-hmm.
because, that made him like this huge name outside of Misery where people were kind of like, oh, that's such an interesting story that happened to him. He was like lost and thought to be dead. Like it's just like that story in and of itself is like just ripe for like a TV movie at that
Yeah.
time or something to come out. So,
And
she gave him like the resurgence that he needed to
yeah,
be able to do this.
I agree. I think that like it just gave him kind of a I think he was bored with his life for a while, writing these books that
Hmm.
he didn't care about, this character he doesn't care about, and even him attempting to like write this new book, like he didn't even have a title for it. Which actually maybe that's common when you're writing a book. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that maybe like him going through this experience, it made him appreciate life again. Like it's almost like it's a wonderful life. Like he's just like,
Yeah.
I'm glad I can actually survive and like write works I'm proud of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like in any like story or situation where you're kind of like faced with something like that, where you're kind of like I always like wonder like if that was me, like how would I respond? Would I just sort of like would I go into kind of like survival mode and just sort of do anything I had to, or would I just sort of like accept it and like let it happen, and just be like, the sooner this is over, like the better. I'll be at peace. I won't have to be living in this
Mm.
like awful experience anymore. Like especially where you're like immobilized and
Oh,
tied
I
to a
would play
bed.
the game. I would play the
Yeah.
game. Oh my God, I would be her best friend. I would be
Hmm.
her literal best friend. I'd be like, oh my God, you know what? I know what she wants, and I'm gonna make this the best misery story that she could ever. And I would write a
Yeah.
character even that like maybe like reminds her of herself. I don't even know. I would like completely
I
make
feel
her
like if you wrote a
thrilled.
character that reminded her of herself, I feel like that would like be a trigger though, because like anything
Oh,
that
true.
that reminds her of herself, she would be like,
True.
"That's not, you can't do that," or it's
I'm
it's
like
it's
this
almost like,
local nurse ended up being
yeah.
a hero and saving Misery's life from a tragic snowstorm.
Yeah. Well, I
Um,
mean, didn't he name a character after her in the book? Because like she got
oh,
really
maybe.
sappy about that when he said it.
Oh, oh, I don't remember. All I remember is when she says like something about the letter N because it has like her favorite writers like the letter N in it, and he's like, oh well, it's my favorite fan's name has two N's in it
Yeah,
because
there's
it's
that for
Annie
sure.
and
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I remember. But
Hmm. Maybe I'm
um,
misremembering.
may I don't
At
know.
at this age, I can't retain every movie.
No,
Uh,
you could be right.
mhm.
Um, but I do think it's funny that after she yells at him when she comes into the room and she's like, "Nobody's coming." Like, what does she say? This is like the most chilling thing. She's like, "Don't even think about anybody coming for you. Not your doctors, not your agent, not your family, because I never called them." Like that's
Mhm.
such a good chilling line. And then the next day when she comes in the next morning, she apologizes, but she doesn't apologize for what she said. She apologizes for the fact that he fell off the bed. And she's like, "Oh my God, the bed is not comfortable. I should have had a hospital bed. I'm so sorry." Like that's
Mhm.
what, and so I just think that's funny that she won't take ownership ever for anything that she's doing wrong. She's
Yeah.
constantly
Yeah.
just thinks she's in
No,
the
she
right.
she she wants to be hospitable and a good host
Hmm.
and all that, but like she's fully committed to like she's justified this in her mind that this is sort of like the thing that she's going to do, and she's made every excuse in the book as to why it's like morally just, which I agree, like goes back to your whole thing that like her killing those babies and like the other nurses or whatever, like she was doing it for a greater good.
That's what I think. One of those
Yeah.
classic stories of like, oh, they're so in so much pain. They're so
Hmm.
miserable.
Yes.
Let me put them out of their pain. But yeah, and then yeah, she starts making him write and gives him the typewriter.
Hmm.
Um, how do
And
you
then the
feel? Oh, actually, no. Please go on.
oh, I was
Because I
just
have
gonna say there's also like the saying misery loves company, which is how I always like tied it into this movie. Obviously, it's not a tagline. I feel like if it was the tagline,
a.
it would be like misery, like the title, and then underneath it would be like loves company.
That would
Um,
be so funny. And it should
but
have. Yeah.
well, that's the tagline of 13 Ghosts.
Uh,
Funny enough. But no, what were you
works
gonna
better
ask?
at this one. Um, I feel like in every single movie when someone picks a lock, everyone in every movie ever is a lockpick, is a master lockpick. Like even like I know it's you have to have some way of someone breaking out of something, but like I have never ever successfully picked a lock. I have tried maybe 100 times in my life, not recently, but we've all tried, I think, picking a lock before. And like I don't know, have you ever tried? They do it in every movie, and I feel like in
Yeah.
every movie, there everyone's a successful lockpick. They're like, "Hold on, wait, I have this little bobby pin, click, click," and it's always like that easy. And I'm like, locks are not that easy, you
Hmm.
know. Actually, like keys are weird, jagged shapes for a reason. So I just find
Yeah.
that funny, and I was just wondering if you ever noticed that in so
Yeah.
many movies.
And he had to like when he was going back in there, he had to like doing all these things like racing in and then close the door and then relock it.
Yeah,
Because I
like
guess there
everyone's a
wasn't like
lockpick.
a yeah, I guess there wasn't a thing. It was just like one of those like keyhole locks. Like he couldn't have
Hmm.
just like locked it from the outside and closed the door.
Yeah,
But
I love it.
no, I've never I don't know how to pick locks. Like I wouldn't know like what to do with a bobby pin or anything like that. I would just be like scraping around in there for hours until I just gave up. I would
Yeah.
just like I would force the like I would just find a way to force the door
Yeah.
open.
I think blind rage would take over.
Yeah, because I mean like he didn't know at that point that there was no phone. So I think that like
Mm.
that's like I would full on just be like I'm just gonna get the fuck out of here and then like use the phone and then hope that like the police will get here before she comes back. So I would be fucked. Like
Yeah.
she probably would have like strapped me in and I would have been like, set back several weeks until she like trusted me again.
Mm.
But yeah, I would just find a way to like force that open and then discover that there was no thing or whatever. Maybe I would start like a fire to like burn the house down because then that would attract, like you said, like the helicopters were flying. That might like get them to come out there.
But you'd be trapped in the house. And what if she didn't come back for hours?
Well, no, you crawl out onto the front yard. It'd be fucking cold. You might die.
Yeah.
But it's worth a shot.
Yeah.
Look, I didn't say I
Um,
was good at this.
like,
I just say if this was my will to live, like these are the things I
yeah.
might do.
Hey, we don't know what we would do if our
Yeah.
legs were shattered and we're in the arms of a
Yeah.
serial killer.
Yeah.
But I do find it interesting that he knocks over that little figurine thing. What is it, a little elephant?
The penguin.
The little penguin. Why did I think
Yeah.
elephant? Penguin, and she caught on to it. She admits later on, but she just doesn't bring it up. Like she had to figure it out first. She had like kept it a secret and had to figure out how
Yeah.
he was escaping, and then she finds his bobby pin later on.
Do
His
you
secret
think
key.
that she knew what he was planning to do with the wine? And that's why she knocked it over.
Good question. I wondered that. Like, was that intentional? I think I even wrote that question down. Yeah, she spills the wine. Did she do that on purpose? Um, do you think that was just her playing it safe, like just in case? Or do you think that was a gen? Because she actually
What
hits the
could,
candle. She
yeah,
bumps into the candle spills over, and then when she's like freaking out about the candle, then she spills the wine. So I wonder if it was on purpose
yeah,
or or just a really successful coincidence.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he should have just like put all of the pill dust into the bottle directly, um, and then just let her drink it. But I guess it would have been more diluted, and might not
Yeah.
have worked. But like, what was his plan after that? Was he going to like tie her up, or would have that been like a lethal dose situation? Like, what was the next thing? Because like now he's stuck there. He doesn't have anyone to take care of him. Like he can't really drive. Like he's not in a position to use his legs to hit the gas pedal or anything. So
Mm.
all it would be like maybe he can like find some rope or something to like tie her up if she was just unconscious and then came to. But it doesn't like that didn't feel like a long-term plan to me, you know?
I think, well, because I think he put so much in, and I mean, honestly, I'd be worried that she would take one sip and be like this tastes funny.
Yeah.
So you have to hope that there's enough in that one sip to knock someone out.
Yeah.
But
Well, I
then I
think
don't
that's
know.
why
Does he have the?
he tasted it when he was like b beforehand just to make sure like if it didn't have like a potent
Oh,
flavor to it.
oh, I must have been taking
Yeah.
notes when he did that. I didn't
Oh,
notice
okay.
that.
Well, it
But
wasn't in that scene. It was like when he was like first getting them and like creating the powder.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
yes. Well, I think because I don't think he would have been strong enough just to kill her. I don't think it would have been like a situation where he could just like, oh, good, she's asleep. Let me take this knife and jab it into her throat.
Hmm.
I think as just a normal human being, he wouldn't be able to do that. So,
Hmm.
yeah, good question. What would he do? Like, he doesn't have the strength to get off his feet and look around the house for another phone. So, he really is limited.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hmm. Unless there was one upstairs and then I can just see it's almost like a reverse Baby Jane where she was trying to
Yeah.
crawl down the stairs to use the phone.
Right.
Um,
I think I would have taken her car keys and I would have found a way to get into that car and make it work. I don't care if my legs are broken. I
yeah.
don't care if I'm driving like all crazy on the road. Like, please, someone stop me.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I would have done.
I just don't know how that would be because it's just like there his legs are like I guess he was in the chair at this point, but weren't they like they were elevated, right?
Yeah,
Because I
they were
remember like
elevated.
when he was looking around the house before he like found the pills, like because
Hmm.
he took himself out of the chair and he had to like pull his legs out. So I'm just like thinking of like any scenario where he would be applying pressure like from his legs onto the pedal. So I mean, I
Or
don't know. I
just
don't think
dropping it
that.
down, just dropping his like, heavy leg down onto the pedal
Yeah.
and it would make it. Vroom.
Yeah, I don't know how far he would get.
It would be nuts,
Unless
but
he used
I
like
don't
his
know.
hands to like hit the pedals, but yeah.
And I feel like in that kind of blind like escape mode, like you almost, I mean, who knows? I've never had a shattered leg.
Knock on
So
wood.
yeah, I've never
Yeah.
had a shattered leg, but I don't know. I feel like I would be like, this is my chance. I need to shove this broken foot onto the pedal and see where it takes me.
Just make it worse before, because you know
Yeah.
that it's gonna get better.
Yeah.
Or your adrenaline could be so high at that point because you're just like, I'm free, and just,
Hmm.
who knows what the human body can withstand when you're in a position like that.
But what
So,
stinks is
yeah.
like after this dinner and after like he fails, time passes. Like it shows like a big montage, kind of not big montage, but a montage of him working on the story,
Yeah.
his outfits changing. Weather stays snowy, so it's not like the
Yeah.
seasons
He's
change.
doing his
But
shoulder presses.
yep, he's doing
Mhm.
those. And I'm wondering how much time do you think do they ever establish how much time altogether he's gone?
I think they must have said somewhere, but I mean it wouldn't have been like more than like a month or a few months because it's still winter.
Yeah, because he has to write a book, like a whole book,
Yeah.
and the cop Buster was like halfway through reading one of the books, so like
Hmm.
that takes a little
Well, I
while.
mean, some people can like read super fast.
Yeah, I know, but
Um,
can Buster? The guy who just bought all these
Absolutely.
books, he just bought a bunch of these romance
Absolutely.
novels and he's like pounding through it. He's like, you know
Yeah.
what? This is actually what have I been missing all this time?
Yeah. I love that like his efforts throughout the entire movie just like amount to absolutely nothing in the end, which is just so
Mm.
sad.
He's the guy from like The Shining that comes and gets like you know
Scatman Crothers or Dick Halloran.
He's like the Dick Halloran of this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
He really is.
It is a very well traveled Stephen King trope to have that character. There's like the doomed
The
savior.
savior, yeah, the dude,
Yeah.
the one that you think is gonna. But this guy was so lovable. I mean, I guess so was Doc Holleran. I mean, he makes these
Yeah.
lovable characters that are like the cute, quirky, like the nice old man, like
Hmm.
cop, like the fun sheriff with his deputy
Yeah.
wife, and you're gonna kill him off
Well, it's just
brutally. Like,
yeah. Oh, I
okay,
feel so bad for her. And just like the
Virginia.
little moments of like them in the car where she's like, has her hand on his leg and he says something like, he's just like, when you're in this car, you're my deputy. And she's
Yeah, it's
like,
so
well, I'd
cute.
rather be at home in bed, but yada, yada, yada. Like,
With him, like I'd rather
yeah,
be in
yeah,
bed with the sheriff.
yeah.
It's so cute.
But I love it because it's almost like they're in their own movie. Which does feel like very much like a thing and like if you look at Carrie, like that's two different stories. Like you have everything with like Carrie and her mother at home, and then there's like Carrie at school. So, I feel like that's just like a lot of Stephen King stories do that. And
Mm,
it's what's so great is that like, we're watching Buster and Virginia and it's like I like this version of the movie. It's the version that's framed from like the sheriff who's trying to find this missing presumed dead writer. And I mean, you could have made a whole movie out of that too. It would have been, just as interesting.
he should have been the
But
hero because he was a hero in my book.
I mean, I would like to see that version of the movie where he does succeed and he's the one that finds Paul and saves the day and defeats Annie. But of course, then we wouldn't get the thrilling climax as it happens,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But
And Craig said something very interesting that it takes 6 weeks for his legs to like kind of start healing. Because it's
yeah.
true, by the time she breaks his legs, his
Hmm.
feet look normal again for the most part.
Hmm.
So that lets us know that at least 6 weeks went by then. So thank you, Craig.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. And that's like just like talk about the effects and like how much they show or don't show in the movie. Cause like when she swings, like you just sort of see it like for a few frames, just sort of like turn in. And it's just like
Yeah.
his reaction that is what we linger on. Like it's just so effective.
Yeah, for the second hit, when she breaks his second foot, we
Hmm.
don't see it. I think we just see the first one, right? I think we
Yeah.
only,
Like
and then we
barely,
just
just
hear,
barely.
yeah, then we only hear the noise and see his reaction for the second foot. And yeah, and that happened so much later in the movie than I remembered. Like I thought that happened like earlier in the movie for some reason. So watching it again on this watch, I was like, oh wow, that's like, it's not towards the end, but it's like two
When she
thirds of
when
the
she
way
breaks his
through.
feet.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I would say
that's
that's
close.
like the end of the second act.
Yeah.
And then at that point, like I love how he's just so over her. He just like flips her off from the window. And
Yes.
normally like I would think that would like really incense her just because it's like a vulgarity of just like flipping someone the middle finger, but she's just like, "Oh, like
Well, at that point, all
grouchy
bets are
Paul."
off.
Yeah.
Yeah, like at that point, he's like, "No, you've broken my leg, so now I don't have to be nice to you anymore. Now I can be like, I'm gonna hate you openly," and like chucks him a bird. And I love that she's just like, what does she call him? She's like, "Hi, pumpkin," or something.
Hmm.
Just so
Something
delusional.
yeah, something like that.
Because as
Where
long as
she's
he's writing the story and she's happy with it, I think that's all she cares about. It's all that makes her happy.
pretty much, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that like on a certain level, like what she's saying is true. Like she does love Paul, or she's just like in love with like the idea of him to the point where she's like going to kill him and herself in this murder suicide thing. Like that's like the only way she could be with him or whatever in death. Like this book is made. Like it's all just so weird. But yeah, I don't know. Amethyst is saying that the she mentions 4 weeks when she tells Buster that she had spent the last 4 weeks trying to write like Paul. So that might be indicative
Oh,
of like how long he's been there.
yeah.
Hmm.
That's crazy too, is she plans on like what, start publishing his work like as a fan of his work, but like using his material, like having him like
Mm.
was she planning on like continuing him writing books from her home and like and her publishing them?
I don't know. I feel that she actually was going to kill him and herself
Oh, really? Okay.
at the end there because I don't know why she would put on any pretenses at that point. I mean, she is like a liar, so you never know. But it just like her rampant mood swings like lead me to believe that there's like some like serious like clinical depression that's going
Very
on
up and
there.
down. Yeah, she has very
Yeah,
highs, very dark lows.
very
Um,
manic.
or she's a Gemini. No, I'm
Is
kidding.
she a Gemini? Is
No.
that what apparently because I was looking up because obviously I'm always interested if there's like a canon birthday for a character and I think she actually was an Aries from
Oh.
what I saw. That's not what I would have guessed, but
Hmm.
yeah.
Well,
Uh Craig is saying that in the book she used an axe and chops off his feet, which is like very, very grim. I actually prefer this version of what they did instead.
yeah, and I guess Stephen King loves an axe, huh? Like he in The Shining and
Yeah.
in this. But yeah, they switched it to a sledgehammer, and yeah, I think that's cool. I don't like missing limbs.
Hmm. You know, plus like, I want him to like have some form of recovery if that's like him at like 18
Yeah,
months later, like hobbling on a cane. Apparently, I don't know if this is based on the book, but it says April 1st, 1943 is Annie Wilkes' birthday.
of course, April Fool's Day.
Hmm.
That's the joke on all of
Yeah.
us.
She don't suffer no fools. Also known as Dragon Lady, which, which
Yes.
is what it said in like I guess like the newspaper clippings.
I
Mhm.
do like that because we switched it to hobbling, instead of cutting off with the axe, we got to learn all about the Kimberley diamond mines, where hobbling was used to ensure that the people, like I guess slaves,
Mhm.
mining the diamonds wouldn't run away, but they could still use their hands to work.
Yeah,
So I thought that was very interesting. Kimberley
yeah,
diamond mines.
because she needed him to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. So it's called hobbling, Paul. I love how she like explains that whole thing.
Yeah, I would have loved to see like her version of the novel though, and just like getting so frustrated with herself, just trying to write like Paul and failing miserably. Hmm. But
Um,
yeah, I don't know. Like that it's a really good point that like was she, gonna kill herself or was she actually going to, you know, produce the next Misery novel? And even
right?
at that point, like would it have been successful like if without his name on it or would it have just been sort of like considered a fan piece, like just like
Right. Inspired by the works
yeah,
of Paul Sheldon.
fan fiction.
Fan fucking fiction?
I mean, there are a lot of Scream 5 similarities here for sure. Um,
Are you saying no?
nobody
Yeah.
nobody takes a real fan seriously, Paul.
Yeah. Okay. Um, what was it? Richie? Yeah.
Richie, Amber and Richie.
Um, but Buster, poor bastard Buster, comes to Annie's house looking for answers. And I love how Annie gets Paul down to the basement really quick. She injects him with some substance to get him to be quiet. And this is when we have a really suspenseful little sequence of Buster throughout the house
Mhm.
looking for
Yeah, and
Paul.
I think like the cinematography is incredible here. Just sort of like all the
Yeah.
like him going upstairs and then like us seeing like her walking behind him with the cocoa. But I always love I think my favorite moment is when she's going to the kitchen and they're both kind of like leaning out of the doorway
Yes.
and it's almost like this like game of chicken and she gets caught and she just sort of like laughs and like goes back in and he makes his move.
Yeah. I love it.
Hmm.
It's awkward and it's
Yeah.
uncomfortable and it goes on for a beat too long where it makes it uncomfortable and it's really
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I wonder if like yeah, because I mean he was already out of the house before like the thing knocked over and then he went back inside. So I guess there was like no way that that he was not going to not hear him. But it almost made it seem like she was prepared for this, like in the event that someone like drive up to the house, that she was like ready to kind of like go down there and like have the, like inject him and then pull him
Yeah.
into the basement. But like if that had happened while she was like out of town or something, like then it would have all been over for her.
Yeah. Or when she was like at the store getting paper, like more
Yeah.
paper or something like that. If like
Yeah.
if Buster had seen it and be like, okay, I'm gonna go to her house now.
Yeah.
Um,
The
but
replacement paper, the one that doesn't smudge.
and I wonder if that was even a real thing. Like, do you think that all paper smudges when the ink is fresh? And do you think that he just like he knew that and he was like, well, whatever, she doesn't know that, so let me just smudge it really quick no matter what. Like, because they never,
Um,
or do you think there
I
really
don't
is paper that doesn't
know.
smudge?
I feel like that might be a thing, but he
Oh.
like that was like fresh ink that he smudged. So I
Yeah,
feel like
exactly. It was almost like he rushed to it and
it
like
would have
smudged it.
smudged either way. But she was sort of like her response initially was kind of like, this sounds like bullshit. Like she's like, huh, what do you know? Yeah. And then that's why she
Yes.
started getting like really worked up about the whole thing. And then like
Want me to get
threw
anything else
the
while I'm there? Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
she was pissed off. Like he's playing the game and she knows that he's playing the game and like maybe a little too well and that's why she's getting pissed off about it. And then of course she comes back and she's like apologizes for her temper or whatever. It's like the same thing again. It's just like her like acting like a maniac and then apologizing for the thing that's just like maybe apologize for the fact that you're holding me hostage here and forcing me
Yeah.
to write this. Eric is saying that the paper thing is for real, according to the book.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's cool. And
Yeah.
Eric also said the suicide declaration is for attention and to manipulate Paul. I guess I could see that too because she does
Mhm.
say like I have this gun, like I might go put bullets in it. Like I might go put bullets in it. I
Yeah.
don't know. So is that
Yeah.
like a
It's a
veiled threat?
big poker game to her. Yeah. Like just these two like back and forth. It's just like every time that like all of their communication with each other is just like they're lying. And they know that they're lying. It's like that episode of Friends. Like they know that we know that they know or that we don't know or whatever.
Hmm.
So it's just like, why are we putting on this performance for each other? We could just sort of like say exactly what is happening, but then it wouldn't be as fun.
But it did seem like she was ready to kill him though when she was at the top of the stairs with the gun and the needle. And she was like, I'm gonna like kill you and then kill myself. Like it did seem like and it seemed like he was on his feet. Well, not really, obviously. But
Hmm.
he was quick with it when he said like, "Oh no, but I have to finish the book first." So it seemed like
Yeah.
she was like, "Oh yeah, true." So I wonder if she was prepared to kill him in that moment, or if then he like genuinely reminded her like, "Wait, let me finish the book first," or if she was just
Yeah.
doing that to scare him so that he would want to finish the book.
Maybe. You never know. Like
We just
they're
never know.
both yeah, they're both really good at manipulating each
Yeah,
other.
that was good. I
Too
like
good.
that.
Yeah.
I like that he did that, and I like that. I like how it plays out. Like, oh, it's almost done. I just need my three things: my cigarette, my matches, and my Don Perignon. As she
Yeah.
says.
Dom Perignon, you know.
So while she
Um,
goes out to get those things, he quickly pours his kerosene all over the paper, and when she comes back, he threatens to light it up.
well, he doesn't threaten. He's just like full on does it because he is like
Oh
saying
yeah.
like, remember how we never knew who Misery's real father was, and does she end up with Ian or was it like Wayne Thrope or something
Yes.
like? It's just like it's
Yeah.
all here in this page, and then like set ablaze, and then it like and then what like turns into like full on Chucky mode that I like to
Yeah.
call it just like her getting like very physical and then just like rolling around on the floor and the typewriter is the weapon and my favorite line in the movie is just like eat it you sick twisted fuck
Oh yes, yeah, you sick twisted fuck. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
that written down.
Yeah. No, it's so good. Hmm.
No, I do love that fight, and Rob Reiner said that he wrote that, or he filmed that to be like a lovemaking scene. Like it's very like
It's got
lovemaking.
some sexual undertones. I mean, like
Yeah.
I mean the characters do have like this very odd, sick chemistry together throughout most of it. So like it makes sense, but yeah, it's almost like they're consummating this, like they've been playing mind games with each other this entire time. So now it's just all kind of happening right then and there.
Yeah, like they're rolling around the floor, there's
Yeah.
passion, they're like, they're
And
thrashing.
and I forgot because it's been a while since I've seen this, so I forgot that we had like a one last scare Michael Myers moment because I
Uh-huh,
thought
of
when she
course.
fell on the typewriter, like okay, that's it. And
Yeah.
so I forgot when she's like, it's just like the again the Chucky like that, and what is it like a paperweight or something, whatever the pig thing is that he gets her in the face with.
Yeah, it was like a weight of some kind. Like a
Yeah,
really huge weight.
yeah. And then she falls on top of him. And I'm glad that he was able to like roll her off because I just like if I was watching this for the first time and was not familiar with the story, I'd be like, "Oh no, she's gonna like just fall on top of him and crush him and like or he'll like suffocate and die with her."
Oh, I think there
Oh,
was
it's
an
a
episode of Seinfeld like that, where like
oh,
someone fell on a lane. It was like the other guy, not Seinfeld himself. It was like the tall guy with the big curly
oh
hair. He like falls
Kramer.
on
Yeah.
I think so. He falls on a lane, and she's just like under the couch, like and she can't get out. I don't know.
Yeah.
That reminds me of that. But yeah,
Yeah, Elaine was like kind of like whenever like someone had to get injured or whatever, like it was always Elaine.
she's so funny.
And if someone had to get like humiliated, it was always George, it seemed. But yeah, I love that show. The pig thing is a door blocker, says Amethyst Frost.
Like to hold the door open.
Yeah, like a door
Okay, gotcha.
stopper sort of
Yes.
situation.
Um,
Ooh.
no, yeah, and then 18 months later, he has escaped. I wonder. Oh, okay. I'm sure he was just found because like
Well, I
Buster got
mean,
killed. So eventually
yeah, but
he
like
will
that's the
come.
thing. It's just like, which I mean, again, like the good thing we bring that up because that her like being ready to kill herself was sort of like, the walls were closing in. She was going to get discovered. They were going to come look for the sheriff, and it was all going to be out in the wash anyway. So I think that she'd kind of accepted it at that point.
I'm just glad we didn't see Virginia's reaction to Buster's death because that would have been too painful to watch. Um, because we
Yeah,
know she was
yeah.
devastated.
What was the last interaction they had? She was just kind of like giving him a hard time for
I think she was
leaving.
like at the office and he was like, I'm gonna, he was looking for the quote. He was like, where's the quote? And
Yeah.
she's like, what? And he's like, found it. And then he leaves. And I don't think he even told anyone where he was going. So I hope that
No, that's
so
dumb.
I'm glad that they found,
Yeah.
but yeah, 18 months later, we see that he's walking, he has a cane,
Yeah.
and he's written a book.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is that like he could have potentially like gone out to the sheriff's car and like found the radio and used it that way.
True. Yeah, because he used
Yeah.
his legs to trip her. So I feel like
He was
he can move those things around.
he was getting strong,
Yeah, he
you
can move
know.
those things around. He can whip
Yeah.
those little legs around. Um,
Eric says that James Caan and Kathy Bates had natural tension because of the different ways they worked. He liked to wing it with little to no rehearsal. Kathy came from the theater and preferred to rehearse a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it caused a lot of tension, I heard.
Hmm.
Um, but the writer of this movie, which I wrote down, William Goldman, when he wrote this movie, he had Kathy Bates in mind, and they had only known her from Broadway. She was a Broadway actress, but
Hmm.
they wanted a famous TV or film actor for the role of Paul, so that's why they
Hmm.
got James Caan. But then they wanted someone that wasn't known for the Annie Wilkes role, so
Yeah.
they got this amazing Broadway actress. But it's cool that they wrote it with her in mind.
Hmm. So this was her breakout role.
Actually, I didn't know that,
Yeah.
and I actually didn't double check that to make sure. But the way that they described that. It
Hmm.
sounds like it,
Makes
which is very
sense.
cool.
Yeah. And she's just been here ever since.
Yeah, and she well, wasn't the next book, the next movie, another Stephen King one, Deborah something, uh,
Dolores
Dolores,
Claiborne. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a Stephen
Not
King. I
familiar
didn't
with
know
it, but I have no idea. I'm not sure.
Deborah something or other.
Deborah,
Mhm.
Deborah Salt.
Yeah, Deborah Salt.
Well,
Come here,
and
Deborah.
speaking of Debbie Salt, because Laurie Metcalf played Annie Wilkes in the play version of Misery.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
Um, I know you mentioned her name once, but I want to bring her back up for an honorable mention is Lauren Bacall.
Mm.
I love so much. I knew I recognized her the whole movie, but I didn't know why. She's his like literary agent,
Yeah.
and she was in the 1974 Murder on the Orient Express,
Okay.
and that's how I recognized her. I was like, oh my God, she was definitely in a Poirot movie, from the
Mhm.
70s. Sorry, my cat is hitting the camera.
Yeah, I've been seeing Selena's tail just kind of like flailing
It's
by, hitting you in the
she's
face.
yep, she's literally right here, and she's
Hmm.
always next to me. Boop, 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 boop.
Uh,
Oh.
mm.
Um,
Alrighty. Well, I think that, we've gone through the whole movie. We could
we have.
probably, yeah, let's get to the cherry picker.
It's not like we kill people on purpose.
All right, last week we asked you who deserves to die the most in Scream 3. I nominated journalist student Tim, you nominated John Milton. And across Patreon, Instagram, and YouTube, the final tally was 90 votes for journalist student versus 665 for John Milton.
That
Way to go. One off
was
from
an
that
easy one.
666. It was an easy one for sure. Although I feel like journalist student is like kind of like he's an under the radar villain. Like, maybe people didn't know who I was talking about because he's just such a small character. But Dylan Jameson, Harvey Weinstein, I mean John Milton, a rapey producer holding gross Hollywood parties that resulted in the rape of Sydney's mother. You think it's like funny when people like bleep words out? Because Dylan didn't, but it's just like a thing where that people do because they think it'll get flagged or something, and it never does. It never does. Just so people know. Blue Box. Yes, John Milton is the right choice. Of course, I want to spread the hate, though, and give my vote to journalist student. That is your big question. It's not even the right one. Why would you ask if it was worth it for Gail to help catching slash killing four murderers? Shouldn't the question be more something like, why would you sensationalize the death of so many people by turning your books into a cheap Hollywood franchise? Or why would you stop several killers but allow someone to murder your hair like that girl? Well, thank you for the I guess like the good reasoning. That would have been like super bitchy if he was just like, "Yeah, what's with your bangs, Gail? Come
Yeah,
on."
that's his question. Like, what the hell happened
And
here?
and that would have been like her like that look that she gives like, "Fuck you," Molly Molly Lolly. John Milton is the one who single-handedly needs to die the most in the entire franchise. I guess he is like the first domino, if you consider it.
Well, yeah.
Because without Milton, there'd be no Roman, and and then there would be no Maureen turning Roman away, and then the affair and the Billy and the all. So yeah, Johnny M. Milton gets the axe. That student is Richmond Arquette. The family must be protected at all costs. Didn't I like nominate Lewis Arquette in Scream 2 as well? I guess I have it out for the Arquette family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No disrespect at all. It's just for funsies.
Yeah.
Spidey fan, there is no choice here. Milton deserves way worse than he got. Welshman, no one likes a smartass. I'm choosing the student. Denise, Milton is a creep, so he gets the knife. Jackie Simmons, it has to be Milton, no question, a remorseless predator who made millions off of the story of Maureen's murder and one who perpetrated untold transgressions for decades unpunished. Roman couldn't have happened to a better guy. And since I loathe to give any credit to that whiny man, 86 Milton twice. Grant Dempsey, Milton, for all the reasons. And Silent Saturn, gotta go with Milton as well. He was an awful person, and as Roman's potential father, not even properly utilized as a character. There was more they could have done with him.
Yeah,
So, good sir, it appears that you have defeated me.
he did
Uh,
have the most gruesome death, though. I feel like he did have in the movie. He had the most gruesome throat slash.
I think like yeah, just in terms of like how sanitized every kill was
Yeah, like
in
they
the
gave
film.
him some gore at least. Like I remember like that being the only part of the movie that made me like flinch when
Hmm.
he gets it slashed.
Yeah,
So at least it happens to him.
that's true. So who's your nomination for Misery?
So what did we say we want to do now?
So
We're doing
we're gonna do we're saving the cherry on top for after
okay.
the noms.
So we're gonna save that for after. So I think who deserves to die the most
Yeah.
would have to be I just want to say Annie, but I think is that too obvious? Like does the to say Annie?
It's your nomination. You can pick whoever you want.
I'm like,
That's the benefit of winning.
hmm. I feel like because I almost want to say like I love Buster, but at the same time I feel like they didn't work hard enough to find him. Um,
Oh.
but no, I guess I would just have to say Annie seems so boring of a choice though.
Does she?
Um,
She murdered babies.
it's like but it's like of course Annie because she's just the villain. So I feel like
Yeah.
she's the obvious
This is
choice.
the challenge of like a movie that has very few characters in it.
Yeah, because I'm like, who else is it besides her that deserves to die?
Hmm.
Um, imagine like her or Paul. Um, yes, I guess her. I guess Annie.
Okay. Gonna go with Annie. And do you want to give the reasons or is it just obvious?
She kills, well, mainly because of the babies. I would have to say
Yeah.
because she kills babies and she kills people that can't defend themselves. That's what she likes to kill, is people that can't
Hmm.
defend themselves. So that is sick.
She makes them unable to defend themselves and
Yeah.
then kills them. Yeah, yeah.
Makes them vegetables.
Okay. I have no idea what this character's name is. Like I'm looking at the it might be State Trooper or maybe no, maybe it is here. State Trooper Sherman Douglas. I believe that's the one who just sort of like they're doing the press conference and he's the one that just like declares that Paul like crashed his car, crawled out of the thing and then like died. He's somewhere under the snow. And like in that same scene, like right after that, you have Buster like looking at the door and it's just like someone pried this open with a crowbar. So this
Yes.
guy's like not even looking at the evidence and he's just saying that like, yeah, Paul opened this door and crawled out and died. So this guy should have his badge taken away from him.
There
He
you
should have
go.
his life taken away from him for
I
the cherry
agree.
picker. Um, so yeah, fuck this dude, and that's my nomination.
I love that.
Um,
And
and
that's kind of what I was getting towards, but I was like, the police didn't do their job, but I think you were right for picking him.
yeah, Buster knew, but Buster's just like a lowly like town
Yeah.
sheriff with one deputy who's
Adorable old man.
and
Ah,
I guess like Virginia's now the sheriff of what's the town called?
she better be.
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
is it Silver Springs or something? Or that was like the
Maybe that was
Silver
the
Lake
hotel.
was like the hotel he stayed at.
Possibly. I think it was
I
all
had
connected, but yeah.
yeah.
And yeah, Amethyst says that is the name of the character. Okay, Great. Okay, so uh cherry on top. We can't choose Annie. So are we, I guess, we've been talking about her all episode. It's Virginia, right?
Virginia, she had a very small part, but I feel like she could definitely like she brought so much sunshine to this movie. She
Yeah.
brought so much like optimism and upbeat, and I would have liked a final scene with her. I would have liked a little closure on her part, but you know,
It would have been
she is who she
filler. It would have
is.
felt like weird because we weren't watching her movie. Um,
Like, what if she was the one at the very end to like find Paul? Like maybe she was looking for Buster. Like maybe she like
yeah.
I guess they only had that one truck.
Yeah.
So
But
no.
then I love how what this movie does so successfully is that for every scene it comes in late and it gets out early. So I feel like if that would be a situation where if we were just watching the screen and he was just laying there like dehydrated or whatever, then it would have felt like the pacing had just slowed down. And I think like in a
Yeah.
movie like that, like a thriller like this where we just had this like intense scene of the two of them fighting to the death, to like have that would have felt like, okay, now we're like, it did it right. It did it perfectly. It just sort of like, we know that help is going to be on the way somehow. And then here he is 18 months later, and he's still haunted by the memory of these unspeakable horrors. And he just sees her everywhere, and in every fan, every
Yes.
number one fan, these
Yep.
atrocities. So yeah, vote your heart, vote your conscience for Annie Wilkes or the state trooper dude. Both terrible fucking
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Um, but you can do that by heading over to Patreon. Even if you're not supporting, you can be a free member and you'll get an extra vote. So you can vote there. You can also vote on Instagram at the Cherry Picker Pod. And make sure that you're following us there. And also on YouTube, subscribe to us here. But there's also the poll. So you can vote 3 times effectively and really push the one that you want to get the cherry pick. But what was I going to say? Yes, Tim, where can they find you on the socials?
You can find me on Instagram at Tim McKay Beauty. Yeah, I almost said
Tim
dot
McKay,
com. Dot
timmckbeauty.com
com.
dot
No,
com.
but no, Tim McKay Beauty is my Instagram.
Yeah. Do you have
That's it.
a website?
I do. It's McKayMakeup.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Just the
images of my
makeup,
work.
no beauty.
Yeah, just images. Yeah, exactly. There's
Yeah.
no beauty there.
It's
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 just
makeup, but it's
yeah,
not the
but I wouldn't
beauty.
say it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
pretty or anything.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no.
All right,
That's my
cool.
website.
You can find me on my main YouTube channel, Zach Cherry. Instagram and Letterboxd are both retro bitch face. Do you have a Letterboxd?
I don't, but I need to make one because I feel like that is what I should do.
Well, you don't have to, but
But I
I
don't
find it
know
it's
because
it's
it's just a
fun.
fun
Yeah.
way to just start pouring out my opinions more.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
And then Twitter, Zach Cherry 8. But next week we are continuing on with our Scream franchise revisitation. I don't know what else you would call that, but all in preparation for Scream 7, which comes out in 1 month's time exactly here.
mhm.
So, and which entry are we covering next week?
Next week will be Scream 4 featuring our
Scr
girl
Scriforum. That is right.
Scriforum
Hmm.
featuring Jill.
Jill.
I love my Jill.
What about Kirby?
I love Kirby. I love
Yeah.
Kirby. I love Scream 4 Kirby.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Love.
We'll get more into that when we get to the Scream 4 and Scream
Yeah.
6 of it all. But anyway, yeah. Thank you for, everyone for being here in the chat if you were, and Patreon supporters. But otherwise, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and we will be right back.